ISS crew copies ready for undock monitoring.
Thank you, Rob. And we just heard some conversation between the crew on the International Space Station and the teams here in the Starliner Mission Control, confirming that we are continuing to be go for an undock in just under 2 minutes from now at 5:04 p.m. Central, 6:04 p.m. Eastern. We are standing by for the command of the undock ATP or authority to proceed. Once the authority to proceed is issued for undocking, the NDS or NASA docking system hooks will begin to open, and there are 12 hooks that seal the surfaces between the NDS and the ISS International Docking Adapter, or IDA. Once all 12 hooks are open, springs on Starliner's docking ring will push the spacecraft away from the space station.
Oops. And Flight Director Chloe Marion just asked for quiet in the room as we are approaching 1 minute out from Starliner undocking.
And we just heard confirmation that the umbilicals are retracting and hooks are beginning to drive.
Oh, hello. I just got in. Just slid in here. Can you hear this? Can you hear me? Is everything? Nothing was tech checked before I started. Okay, good. Yeah, I just kind of blew in here. I think it's going to undock in 2 minutes or something. Last minute streams that I am not prepared for. Hi, Stephen. Good. Okay. And can you hear this lady talking when she does talk? But I did have time to make giant tea. Thirty seconds. Oh!
Separation confirmed. Starliner is now backing away from station.
That's
and
an
starting its
undocking.
return to Earth. Starliner's thrusters will then complete 2 short firings to gradually increase the separation speed to help the spacecraft carefully move away from the orbiting lab.
The vehicle is now about 2 meters away from the International Space Station. At the time of undocking, Starliner and the International Space Station were flying approximately 260 statute miles over central China.
Okay.
Starliner will be beginning a breakout burn soon, which will take the spacecraft forward and above station.
It's deceptively simple so
During this
far.
sequence,
Like,
Starliner's thrusters
that was
will
all
perform a series
very
of 12 short
easy.
firings. The entire sequence takes about 5 minutes to complete and allows Starliner to quickly break
some of these
out
angles
outside
are
the approach
awesome.
ellipsoid, or AE. And about 4 minutes into the burn sequence, Starliner will exit the keep out sphere, or the KOS.
This shot is beautiful. I got to make this bigger. I got to make me smaller. It's so pretty. Look how pretty that is, you guys.
There on the left of your screen as Starliner backs away from space station.
What? Look
And
at
we are
this.
now just
This is so much better looking than I thought the angles would be.
We saw a good first burn.
Houston, ISS thrusters enabled.
Confirmation, all 27 jets have fired.
Okay, all 27.
ISS
Ooh!
thrusters enabled.
And you're seeing the light show there on your screen.
This is deceptively more interesting than I thought it would be. Oh my God, you can see all the thrusters going.
100-second pause until the 4th burn.
Hey, AR. Right? Like, this is why people think NASA's fake. It's too pretty. Like, way cooler than I thought it would be. Yeah, I think I was telling you. I was like, is this stream worthy? I don't know. And now I'm like, oh, it's beautiful.
Starliner is about 60 meters away.
Right? Agreed.
And flight controllers are reporting good attitude and good control.
We are standing by for the fourth of the 12 burns in the series of firings as part of the breakout burn. As a reminder, the entire sequence will take about 5 minutes to complete. About 4 minutes into the sequence, Starliner will cross what is known as the keep out sphere. The keep out sphere is an imaginary 200-meter sphere centered on the space station. We are 15 seconds away from the fourth burn in the series of 12.
I mean, they are now, right? All 27. Starliner's like, no, I just don't want to carry astronauts, you guys. I just want to be on my own always.
And you just saw burn 4, which just completed. We're hearing good burn.
It's a thing, Neil. It's a real thing. Doing exactly what it was supposed to do this whole time. What?
And the fifth burn in that sequence of 12 just completed, and it was a good burn.
I don't know. Did they stuff it full of knickknacks and gifts? I don't know that. Oh, it looks so pretty when all the thrusters go. I'm loving this angle.
The sixth burn in the series of 12 was just completed, and it was a good burn. We are halfway through the series of 12, 6 more to go.
Yeah, and spoilers, I'm not watching this thing from beginning to end, guys. Just so you know, it's going to take 6 hours for Starliner to get home. I'm not going to do that kind of stream.
You might be able
But
to see some of those lights on the front.
it's not going to
of
land till really,
Starliner.
really late. So
A
I
red
thought it
and
was
a
just going to be in the
green and
dark.
a
It was going to be like
white.
this infrared, maybe
Those
not that
indicate the
interesting. I
different
thought this
sides
might
of
be a bit more
Starliner.
interesting, and it looks like it
And
is.
they're used by the ISS crew to watch Starliner move away from the ISS along the undocking axis.
And we just heard good confirmation of
Starliner just
burn
maybe doesn't
7
like
and 8
people. Like
completed.
maybe Starliner's just not a people
Starliner
person.
undocked
Maybe it's just,
approximately 5 minutes ago and has
what was
just
the
a
talking
handful
car
of short firings left in its
from the 80s?
breakout burn.
It's that, but the
and It
opposite.
is now about 150 meters away from the International Space Station. And we heard confirmation of a good burn 9.
I know. I guess I should have. I don't know. I'm sure someone's doing that. I just don't know if it's going to be me. Herbie. Yes, Herbie. It's like Herbie, but it doesn't like people. That's my theory. The love bug. Oh, because it's a beetle. Yeah.
10,
okay.
Good
That just
burn.
made sense. Yes. Zoom. More zoom. Yes. Extra zoom. Do it.
We have one more burn to go, but they have confirmed that Starliner has crossed the Keep Out Sphere, or the KOS, which is an imaginary 200-meter sphere centered on the International Space Station that helps flight controllers here on the ground monitor the arrival and departure of visiting vehicles.
Station Houston, Space to Ground 2. Starliner has exited the
It's a
Keep
double
Out Sphere.
E beetle, not an EA beetle.
Copy, she's exited the keep out sphere.
I'm just like wondering if this is the most zoom that there is. Isn't there like a little more zoom, guys? I mean, I know we're going to lose sight of this thing pretty quickly, but
sequence was chosen to use Starliner's forward thrusters, which have remained nominal during this flight.
And we heard confirmation that all 12 burns in this series of breakout burn firings have completed, and they were all good burns. Starliner has crossed the Keep Out Sphere. So the next
it's going
milestone
away.
for Starliner's
Going
departure
bye-bye.
will be crossing the approach ellipsoid, or AE. The AE is another invisible shape monitored by the flight control team, measuring 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. Starliner is scheduled to cross the approach ellipsoid in about 10 minutes. Vehicles outside the AE have to be on what we call a 24-hour safe free drift trajectory, which means the
Oh,
spacecraft
getting very
cannot
blurry.
cross into the approach ellipsoid
I do
for
wish
at
that they
least
had another
24 hours,
camera where we
even
could
if
kind
it
of see
lost
it in
all
the
maneuvering
context of
capability.
ISS. Like, I don't know where this camera
Once
would be, this
outside the
magical
approach
camera that I
ellipsoid,
want.
joint
But I
operations
wish we
between
could see it
Starliner
like
Mission
you can
Control
see
and the
IS here.
International
You can
Space
see
Station
like
Flight
where
Control Room
exactly it
will
is in the
conclude, and
context of
Starliner will plan
ISS.
a path back to Earth.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And just the fact that they're doing all of this with nobody inside, like, what? What? But yet it's working better. Am I the
We're now
only
taking a
one
look
who
from
thinks that's
the VESTA
a
system,
scotch
which
funny?
stands for Vision-Based Electro-Optical Sensor Tracking Assembly. It's a bit of a mouthful, so we like to call it VESTA. And this is a look from Starliner back at the International Space Station.
Oh,
The system is really the eyes of Starliner. It's able to pick up on features on the outside of station like handrails and reflectors.
Hmm.
You can see some of that on your screen there in the outlines. And it's the way to assess Starliner's position and attitude. It also gives the ground teams a very accurate look at Starliner's location relative to the station. So earlier we were taking a look from the station back at Starliner. Now we're looking from Starliner back at station.
Yeah. No,
We're just
you
under
are
10 minutes
correct.
away from the
Ooh.
AE exit. So in the meantime, we will check back in with NASA's Rob Navius in the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Rob?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's
Flight
just way more
Dynamics
high
has
quality that I'm
reported
used
that
to. Like, no
Starliner
offense,
is on a
NASA.
perfect trajectory backing away from the International Space Station and
Feels like
opening
I could do business
a
with
rate
this.
of about 13.5 statute miles per rev. At the time of the deorbit burn at
Ooh.
10:17 and
Come on, my
13
guy.
seconds
Come
p.m.
on.
Central
Come
Time later
on.
this evening, the vehicle
He's
will
like, I
be
give up.
about
I give up on that
56
camera.
statute miles away from the International Space Station. That deorbit burn, by the way, will be a 59-second burn to slow Starliner down by 129.9 meters per second, a 4 OMAX burn. OMAX, the acronym for the Orbital Maneuvering and Attitude Control System, thrusters and jets on the
Yeah,
Starliner
it's just
spacecraft that will enable
funny that
Starliner
it seems to be
begin to
doing
drop out
better
of
when it
orbit
is
for its
operating
intended southwest to
autonomously.
northeast trajectory
But,
across
you
the
know,
Pacific Ocean,
mostly
across Baja
jokes. Mostly
California,
jokes.
and heading towards its landing at the White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico. With the forward port of Harmony now vacant, that sets the stage, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, for the start of a couple of crew rotations that are coming up. Down at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, Don Pettit of NASA and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner and their backups are in the final stages of their preparations for launch next Wednesday. Their Soyuz 2.1A booster and the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft that they will ride to orbit. That vehicle will roll out to the launch pad in Baikonur on Sunday, and then final preparations will lead them to a launch next Wednesday at 11:23 a.m. Central Time, heading for a 2-orbit, 3-hour, 10-minute journey to dock to the International Space Station's Rassvet module. Now, that forward port on Harmony that was just vacated by Starliner's departure will be the port of call for NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, and their launch no earlier than September 24th on the SpaceX Dragon Freedom spacecraft off of Launch Complex 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. That will be about a 30-hour transit for those 2 crew members to reach the International Space Station and the automated docking to the forward port of Harmony. Ultimately, Hague, Gorbanov, Butch Wilmore, and
like
Sonny
this angle
Williams
too.
will do a relocation of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft from the forward port of Harmony to the
When I
zenith
say
port
ooh,
of Harmony,
there's
opening
a
up
very
that forward
specific
port for the
SNL
arrival
skit.
of the next SpaceX cargo ship,
I
SpaceX
don't know what you
31,
mean. Do
that's
I want to
scheduled
know
for
what you
launch
mean?
in October. So a lot of activities lying ahead for the space station crew. The crew aboard the International
I
Space
feel like
Station
for
soon
Polaris Dawn,
will
it's
begin
just going to
its
be a
sleep
lot of me
period
saying
and an
ooh.
off-duty
So
day on
sorry, guys.
Saturday,
Just
while the
prepare
activity
yourselves now. I
shifts
can't keep
over to
it.
the
I
White
can't keep it
Flight
inside.
Control Room down the hall, as they are in a shift handover right now.
Especially with the red hair.
Flight Director Rick Henfling will be taking over
don't get
shortly
it.
to supervise entry and landing
Am I supposed to get
operations,
it?
and the team over there will be monitoring the progress of Starliner as it moves to its deorbit position about 56 statute miles away from the International Space Station. With that, we'll turn it
It's a
back
good
to the
question.
White
I
Vicar
don't
and
know.
Anna and Lauren.
Thank you, Rob. Starliner is now about 750 meters away from the International Space Station as it continues to make its way to the approach ellipsoid exit. Again, that approach ellipsoid exit is targeted for
Like this camera's
5:25 and 30
crazy
seconds
good. And
PM
is it
Central
me?
Time,
Like when did
6:25 and 30
this
seconds
happen?
PM
Because you
Eastern
guys saw the
Time,
footage
and
of it
everything
docking
continues
and it
to
was like
proceed as planned
grainy
with Starliner's
RS.
departure and
Like
return back to Earth.
what is this?
And you're looking live at Starliner and
I mean, if it
engineers
how
have
scandalous
telling
is
us
this,
that
Neil?
the breakout burns all went
Yes,
well.
but I'm gonna look at it later.
Thrusters are all looking good. Everything is nominal as we
Zing.
continue up and around space station and head back to Earth.
Again, Starliner undocked just a short while ago.
I mean,
from the
for the
International
light I
Space
get. I
Station
mean,
at 5:04 p.m.
I see what you
Central,
mean. It was just the
6:04 p.m.
graininess was
Eastern as
crazy of
space
the
station
docking.
and Starliner
So
were flying approximately
yeah, I mean, yeah,
260
maybe you're right.
statute
It's just
miles
I'm
over
very
central
surprised.
China.
I feel like I've never seen
And shortly after that
footage
physical
of anything docking or
separation,
undocking that was
Starliner's
this
thrusters
clear.
completed 2 short firings to gradually increase the separation speed and help the spacecraft carefully
not as
move
close to
away
Starliner,
from the
which led
orbiting
to the issue.
laboratory as part of the
Okay.
separation burns.
It's
And then
possible.
Starliner began the breakout burn.
Okay,
which
fine,
was
just
a
do it
series
already.
Of 12
Come
short
on.
firings, which allowed
I gotta
the
know at some
spacecraft
point.
to quickly move outside
We're all grown-ups.
the keep out sphere, and it is now approaching the approach ellipsoid exit. And once Starliner is outside of the approach
But also, I'm like,
ellipsoid,
who had red
the
hair
joint
on Saturday Night
operations
Live?
between
Right.
teams here and the Starliner Mission Control and
I
the
feel like I'm
International
probably
Space
missing
Station
somebody
Flight
important
Control
here.
Room across the hall will end, and Starliner will be back on its path to Earth.
Oh, look at the little dot. I like that. So pretty.
And we
Crazy.
are about 6 minutes away from that approach ellipsoid exit, and Starliner is now about 900 meters away from the International Space Station, traveling at a rate of 1.2 meters per second.
She has red hair? I feel like she has
That dot in the center of your
brown
screen
hair.
is Starliner
Doesn't she have brown hair?
looking from space station.
Oh, do you mean the character she's playing has red hair? I feel like I'm missing this. Oh, okay. I gotcha. All right, send it over. I like this too. I'm liking all these angles. Maybe I've just been watching the wrong NASA streams, but I feel like I don't know. This just feels really different. We're like,
now
we're
about
really,
5
someone's
minutes
like
away from the
producing this.
approach
Like we're
ellipsoid
mixing up the
exit.
angles. We
Starliner
realize we have an
undocked
audience.
from the
Like,
International Space Station
I don't know. It
about
just feels
16
very,
minutes ago at
very
5:04
different.
p.m. Central, 6:04 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, thank you.
Starliner is now just over 1,000 meters away from the International Space Station. After Starliner crosses the approach ellipsoid, the next milestones for the
Probably,
vehicle will
probably.
be its
I would
entry
not
cover
would not call
closure,
myself an
and
expert.
that is planned for about 6:42 p.m. Central, 7:42 p.m. Eastern, and then there will be some checkouts of the OMAC thrusters at 7:05 p.m. Central, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we get into the entry and landing coverage, and the go no go for the deorbit burn will be at approximately 9:57 p.m. Central, 10:57 p.m. Eastern, following with the deorbit burn about 20 minutes later at 10:17 p.m. Central, 11:17 p.m. Eastern.
Tiny little
Again,
dot.
seeing good views of Starliner leaving the
Yeah, we
International
are.
Space Station. It's that distant dot on your screen. The vehicle is now about
And do you guys think just
1,120 meters away
look
from
out
the
the
International
porthole,
Space
being
Station.
like, "Bye, thanks for the ride."
And we just heard confirmation that Starliner is out of the
TBD.
approach ellipsoid. The approach ellipsoid is a imaginary three-dimensional ellipsoid around the space station, and vehicles outside of the approach ellipsoid have to be on what we call a 24-hour safe free drift trajectory, which means the spacecraft would not cross into the approach ellipsoid for at least 24 hours, even if it lost all maneuvering
Does it?
capabilities.
Okay. I guess I've just,
Now
I
that
don't know.
Starliner is
I feel
outside of
like
the approach
whatever
ellipsoid,
undockings I've
joint
seen have not
operations
been,
between the Starliner Mission Control
have
and
not felt
International
like the
Space
camera work
Station
is this
Flight
good, but
Control Room
maybe
will
I'm looking
conclude,
at the
and
wrong
Starliner
ones.
is now on a path back
Maybe
to
I'm
Earth.
also just burned from the Return of Artemis
So
that we
once
watched
again,
on this stream, where
Starliner
it was just
undocked from
watching
the International
ocean
Space
for
Station
so
at
long.
5:04 p.m.
We were
Central,
like, come on,
6:04 p.m.
guys.
Eastern, as the space station was flying 260 statute miles over central China. Shortly after physical separation, Starliner's thrusters completed 2 short firings to gradually increase the separation speed to help the spacecraft carefully move away from the orbiting laboratory.
Starliner then began the breakout burn,
dot is
and
gone.
Starliner's smaller jets performed a series of 12 short burns to allow the spacecraft to quickly move outside the approach ellipsoid. Starliner again crossed the approach ellipsoid moments ago and is now on its journey home. The next milestones for Starliner ahead of its deorbit burn,
Time's a thing,
targeted
people.
for 10:17 p.m., include crossing the entry cover, closing the entry cover, and conducting checkouts of the OMAX, or the orbital maneuvering and attitude control thrusters. Those are the bigger jets on Starliner.
For now, let's check in one final time with NASA's Rob Navius following Starliner's exit from the approach ellipsoid.
Thank you, guys. Here in the Space Station Flight Control Room, Flight Director Anthony Varia and his team will be remaining on console
Until
throughout the
you've
course
worked
of the
it
evening,
out.
keeping a
I
watchful
mean,
eye on things.
if it comes back in one piece, there are things to work out, especially if this goes super smoothly, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's better than the alternative, right? But does it just become more frustrating then if everything goes to plan on this return, aside from the fact that the astronauts aren't in it?
For RWS teardown when you are.
See ya.
Okay, she's on her way home. Congratulations to the undock team, and
Is this
we'll be
Sunny?
tearing down the RW.
10 copies, thanks.
Spacecraft communicators are here in the station flight control room talking to Sonny Williams,
That was Sunny.
International Space Station. The Starliner is perfect trajectory.
She
Moving
either
well
seems
away from
slightly
the
sad
International
or
Space
slightly
Station
tired.
for its deorbit burn at 10:17 and 13 seconds p.m. this evening. Once again, that'll be a 59-second burn of the 4 orbital maneuvering and attitude control system jets on the Starliner spacecraft to slow Starliner down by 129.9 meters per second, allowing it to drop out of orbit to begin its descent back into the Earth's atmosphere, and a landing just about midnight Eastern time, 11 p.m. Central time, give or take a few seconds, at the White Sands Space
You
Harbor
think so?
in New Mexico.
We'll be like, bam,
With that, the
crushed
space
it.
station
10 out of
team
10.
will begin to turn its
Deal with it,
attention to
guys.
the next major activity that will be the launch out of the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on Wednesday of NASA's Don Pettit and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner.
Did they
on the
finally
Soyuz
reschedule
MS-26
Polaris? Do we know when
spacecraft
that's happening?
that will increase the
I
station's
kind of gave up.
population from 9
I felt like
to
I
12,
saw like
and the
3
beginning
reschedules,
of
so
a
that I'm
busy
like, I
several
cannot
weeks
with
of
this
crew
anymore.
rotations on the International Space
I
Station,
want to see
leading
that
to the start
desperately.
of Expedition 72. So with that, we're going to call it a day here in the space station flight control room. Turn it back to you guys in the white flight control room down the hall.
Yes, Neil, we hear you.
All right,
Aliens,
thank you very
gotcha.
much, Rob. Starliner is now on its way back home to Earth and has about a 6-hour journey ahead of landing. We are targeting again
yep.
around 11 o'clock Central, midnight Eastern for that landing at White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico.
We will resume live coverage of Starliner's deorbit entry and landing beginning at 9:50 p.m. Central, 10:50 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Until then, thank you for joining us for Starliner's undocking and departure from the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston.
Okay. Wow, that's it. That's all she wrote. It is hot here. I am sweaty. But it doesn't have a date, right? There's not like a date set up yet where they're like, this is our confirmed date. Because I was following Isaacman for a while on Twitter, but then he was just kind of retweeting what like SpaceX was tweeting and other people. 6 hours. 6 hours. It's going to be a minute. You're welcome, Dixon Blog. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that's it, guys. So backed away. Everything seemed to be going okay. I guess we'll find out in 6 hours how it all turns out. I am planning on going out tonight, but if I don't know, have a crazy idea, maybe I'll go back live really late whenever it pops back on, but probably not. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. You're welcome. Yeah, it was due to there's been a few weather things, and then remember they ground SpaceX after that booster fell over, and there's been a bunch of reasons why they kind of held off for a while. The recovery area. Starliner's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just keep doing my own thing. Catch you on the flip side. Yeah, good to see everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I think the next time I'll do this will probably be when Polaris takes off, whenever that is, but I will keep you posted. Also, I have really quick, I have kind of an exciting announcement to make that will pop up on my Tuesday video. So something's afoot, and I will let you guys know what that is on my Tuesday video. So take a look at that. This Monday at 3:30 in the morning? Is that true, Steven? Are you telling me lies? SpaceX still says late August? Shut up, SpaceX. What? I will watch the video, Neil. You're welcome, Steven. I am. Watch my video. Some news is there. All right, guys. I will see you all later. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good evening.